Arsenal that are up near the top. Breaking news. William Saliba commits his future to Arsenal by agreeing a 5-year contract. 24-year-old entered his final 2 years of his deal. It's going to run till 2030. Massive news for Arsenal Football Club, this.
Yeah, it's... I would have thought logically maybe he would be one of those players like a Salah or a Ronaldo from us who does end up going to Real Madrid or Barcelona because he's, that quality. But it's another huge step for Arsenal. I mean, if it was Arteta out, I'd probably be looking at that and going, that's not good for me, is it? Because it just shows this long-term plan. And I mean, look, I think Arsenal drawing last week, and funnily enough, Saliba was at fault for that goal because I wouldn't have picked him. I think he looked like he wasn't match fit and he made a mistake. It massively puts the advantage in Liverpool's favour, and maybe Arsenal won't win the league and maybe they won't win the Champions League. And I think some Arsenal fans will be saying, well, that's it, he's got to go. But that's, fan theory is not the same as club plan. And I think even if Arsenal finish second or third and, got knocked out in the quarterfinal of the Champions League, I still don't think they'd move Arteta on. I still think they think that they're building something here that will end up with a title at some point. I mean, I might be completely wrong on that. And look, I'll put my hands up and say he's got to win something this year, but it doesn't mean he gets sacked. It doesn't mean he will. And signings like that just show that they are, trying to, build something that's sustainable and long-term. And I think that transfer window showed that. I mean, I'm a bit disappointed with Arsenal, to be honest, but I mean, it's a very good indicator of their long-term projections and plans.
Yeah, I think I've said this for a few years now about Arsenal with these new deals. I remember even Arsenal in their pomp under Wenger, they'd done double, they'd done the Invincibles, they got to a Champions League final. But then they started to lose the Vieiras and the Henrys, and it just felt like from about 2005 onwards, it felt as though whenever their best players reached their peak or just before their peak, it just felt consistently like they lost them. And they'd lose them to a Barca, a Real Madrid, a Manchester United. City took a lot of their players. And I remember having this conversation back in 22, 23 with, quite a few Gooners. And I've said, look, I know you're really happy with the growth this year. You're in the title race. But I said, don't take your foot off your owner's neck, in the sense of they've got to keep investing, which by and large they've done, probably barring last summer. But can you keep your better players? Because that, for me, is where Arsenal, in the last 5 to 8 years of Wenger, went wrong, is they lost their better players. And they could never build a squad that's as good and as deep as this. And I think you don't have to rate all the players, and Arsenal fans don't, but the new deals for all these individuals, it looks like Saka's going to get a new deal as well. It does two things. It either keeps these players at your club, which is important because they're your best players, or at least maintains their value. So if you sell them, you're getting big bucks. And Arsenal are not notoriously good at selling, and that may not change. But if you've got a Saliba with a contract with 2023, he ain't going for free like 2030. He isn't leaving for free like Trent Alexander-Arnold. So I think personally, this is absolutely massive for Arsenal. A great young defender. I say young, 24 now, on his way to being the best. But yeah, he's here to stay at Arsenal, and I think Gooners should be absolutely over the moon with that, personally. I really, really do. Viewers, do us a big favour, please hit that like and the share button. Speaking of Arsenal, this is Pitchside talking a bit about, it's only 5 games in, but let's take a little listen to this.
Shows how Arsenal are as a team, and I think it comes from your manager. And this is why you won't win the league. And time again, your manager sets up for draws in the big games. He's more bothered about not losing than winning. Your players are celebrating in the corner against, by the way, a team you're better than. You're better than City right now. You've actually got the best squad in the league. You're at home against a Man City side who've gone there, sat back and defended against you because they recognise you're better than them. And still, when you get a goal in the 92nd minute, you're too busy in the corner going mad because the way your mentality is as a team, because of your gaffer, you're buzzing with a draw when actually you should be winning that game because you're better than City. And this is why you won't win the league.
Are they not going to win the league? 5 games in? Sorry.
Well, I predicted they would win the league, and I won't withdraw that after 5 games because it's too early. And I do think that Liverpool You know, I don't believe in stats and everything like that, but I saw something this week that Liverpool really should be about 8th. You know, I don't know how that works. What do you mean they really should be 8th? They're first. This is the real world. They're top. What do you mean they really should be 8th? Well, if you put it in, no, the real world has put them top, so they're top. But I think I wouldn't say Arsenal aren't going to win the league yet, but I do think they've done themselves some damage. And I think Tom's absolutely spot on. You know, I really, you know, completely agree. And I'd already said it on Sunday, straight after the game and during the watch along, that I spoke to Robbie about this as well from AFTV. Absolutely agree with it. Like, Man City were scared of Arsenal. The tables have turned completely from 2 years ago, where Arsenal would do that to City because they knew City were better than them. I said Arsenal needed to win that game. I don't think they approached the game to win that game. And I think Arteta is too in the shadow of Pep. It's like the fucking, you know, the trainee who is now better than the teacher, but still wiping his arse for him. And it's like, before the game, I saw him going along the City coaching thing, shaking their hands and stuff like that. And that's great. Do it after the fucking game. It's like Roy Keane in the tunnel, right? He might have an Irish teammate next to him as captain. I ain't fucking talking to you until after the game. And I think Arteta has done a great job at Arsenal. And I think he gets unfair criticism. And I've defended him a lot. But my stance is always that, like, even if I really respect somebody and even if I really like them, and even if I'm always going to have their back, if they do something I don't agree with, I have to be true to myself and say, I think you got that wrong. I'm still going to have you back, but I do think you got that wrong. It's like Amorim. I want Amorim to do well, but I don't agree with Bruno in the midfield. And if anybody says about that, I'll go, I totally agree with you. I do not like it. And with Arteta, I think last Sunday, he went too defensive. And it was almost like Arsenal took the draw and were like, I mean, I saw Cecil on AFTV and everyone going, and I'm like, you know what? One thing I will say about United fans is there's no way, if we should have beat Man City and we're better than Man City and they've parked the bus against us and we get a late equaliser, there's no way United fans are going to stand there and go, you know what? And that's it. And I think Liverpool fans might be the same, and maybe Chelsea fans the same. And that's something Arsenal just don't have, is that know-how to win. And Arteta doesn't have that know-how to win and doesn't seem to have that drive. I still think it'll happen, but there's, you know, these are still the things that Arsenal need to iron out, because as you were saying, Terry, Saliba, Mascara, Gabriel, Calafiore, Timber, Ben White, Kepa, Raya, Rice, Zubimendi, Norgard, Wanyeri, Moreno, Havertz, Gyökeres, Eze, Madueke, Saka, Martinelli. They've got a really, really good squad, but they've desperately got to learn to back themselves and be more on the front foot, because they can do it, but they've gone a bit reserved, a bit too reserved.
I look at it as a combination of a mixture of things here. So I don't think the celebration of the goal, for me, I don't think that's an indicator they can't win the league, because I've seen Liverpool do the same thing at the same ground last season with not even a late equaliser, as late as theirs was in extra time in the 81st.
Oh, no, celebrating the goal is absolutely fine. I'd be running with my top off because I didn't think they were going to do it. And it was a brilliant goal. I
agree. My thing was more the starting lineup wasn't right, in the sense of Eze should have started the game and everything else. So that's where I think this is what I think happens when it comes to the hot takes on this, is that people want to make it baby in the bathwater. It's like, okay, taking that ball back to the halfway line isn't going to speed things up too much, because the goal, and every goal, is checked by VAR. It was fairly close as well to being offside. So whilst they're celebrating for 30 or 40 seconds, Zubimendi went and grabbed the ball, which was no one saw it in real time because the camera angle didn't show you. It's gone viral since, but yet people are still talking like he didn't. The celebration lasted about 40 seconds. They were still, while they were all standing there for about another 30 seconds when the ball was placed, they're waiting for VAR to confirm the goal. So that element is that part. It's the correlation thing. We all saw Hugo Ekitike get sent off, holding his shirt up in that moment. If that was an Arsenal player, it would be, that's why they can't win the league, because their mindset and their mentality is wrong. There's no correlation and causation, because teams that do win also do those things. So it's a nonsense. But I do agree with you with them being slight again, and it's slightly more attacking. Should they have started that game with no defensive-minded midfielders and gone all-out attack and left themselves wide open for the counter? No, that would be stupid. And I just think sometimes the analysis is a little over the top. Rob here says, when we used to get slapped 5-0 every season, it was you need to be more compact and not so naive. Now when we are compact and hard to beat, Arteta is a coward.
But I think the problem is he wasted 45 minutes in that game. Like, he should have started Eze instead of Trossard, and Moreno in the midfield made you, even more compactive. And the thing that Tom's talking about there, and the thing that I think we're talking about here, is that Haaland scored quite early, and Arteta didn't wait till half time. And I think more attacking managers would have gone, okay, I've put a team out here to get the first goal and stay compact. They've got the first goal and they've gone compact. My setup's not right. I need to tweak this now. And he didn't do it quick enough. And, maybe if you'd done it 20 minutes before half time, maybe you equalise before half time and then you win it in the second half. And the second thing is, it's all right going compact if you're playing PSG away in the Champions League semi-final, but you're playing Man City at home who've lost 2 of their first 4, are vulnerable and are not very good. Don't get kidded by the fact that Man City have beat Man United and Wolves, that Man City are a good side. They're not. Brighton and Spurs dealt with them quite comfortably. They are a new team that are learning and are vulnerable. And Arsenal should have given them a tougher game than they did. I've never disrespect Man City and say Arsenal should have won it, because Man City are capable of getting a result. But Arsenal had everything in their favour. Plus, Man City had played Thursday, Arsenal had played Tuesday. It was at the Etihad. It was a game Arsenal needed to win because they'd already lost to Liverpool. And I think where I would agree with an Arsenal fan is the ingredients that Arteta put out weren't sufficient to produce a win. And there'd be a lot of regrets in that. A draw's not the end of the world. They're not out of the title race, but he could have been. He showed too much respect to a Man City team that doesn't actually exist at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. And do you know what I say, Rob, to your take? It's the opposite to a hot take. It's balance. I don't think anyone's asking you to be gun-ho crazy. It's literally slightly more attacking. I think
if he picked Eze, I don't think anyone would have had the one player.
No, exactly. You're talking a real big thing. Why does everyone only use what ifs to make definitive decisions on Arsenal? Well, you have to use what ifs, hypotheticals in certain elements of football analysis. So, could they have won if they'd done this? When the debate is what could be done better, then it matters. Then I think you have to use the what ifs on it as an example. But I do agree that sometimes things are over egged with Arsenal. 110%. It can be over egged. Why do rivals have such a hard on for Arteta? My view on this one, bro, is some people have written him off for so long. I think there is this desire to be right. I need to get it right. If he goes and picks up the FA Cup, the Champions League, or the Premier League, it's a 4 or 5 year. And by the way, they'll try and twist it and bookmark this moment. Save a little clip. They'll say, yeah, but I wasn't wrong about the other seasons because I said he wouldn't win the league and he didn't. No, their claim is never win a major trophy, not this particular season. So that's why they're doubling down hard. That's why they're putting the pressure on Arsenal fans to turn on him, because if he gets sacked before winning anything, they can say they were right. There is a lot of it is a desperation to be right, which is why you guys could win your next 8-9 games on the bounce looking amazing, have one bad performance and a draw, and all this comes back out again with the same vim, because it's about, I need my agenda, I need my prediction to come true. That's what that's the
thing about Arsenal as well is that they're very hard to beat. Even if you want to be really critical this season, they're very hard to beat. Man City didn't beat them. That was a brilliant goal, by the way, the equaliser. And Liverpool beat them because we saw the goal of the season. Nobody's saving that. Nobody's saving that. So then the thing about Arsenal is they're not. You're right. They're not definitively bad, but there was a time where people were printing T-shirts, and nobody likes it when it gets that bad, and they don't get proved right.